dear students, today we are going to discuss the classical theories of economic developments part 2. We already discussed the regarding the classical growth theories, major key takeaways, and then understanding classical growth theory, and then history of classical growth theory. And also we have discussed the structural model of classical growth theory. So today we are going to discuss the limitation of the classical growth theory and the proposition of and the basic proposition of classical growth theory. So in this way you are going to understand the what are the basic proposition and what are the limitation of regarding the classical growth theory. So first we will discuss the limitation of the classical growth theory. The first limitation of classical growth theory is the ignorance with respect to the technology. So under this limitation, this model, basically the classical growth theory model, ignores the efficient technical progress which could play for the smooth running of an economy. So they totally ignore the efficient technical progress concept and the advancement in the economy. So due to the help of the efficient technical progress, the advancement in the economy can minimize the diminishing returns. So basically this model have done, this model ignores the efficient technical progress which could play for the smooth running of an economy. The investment in economy can be minimize the diminishing returns. So first limitation under this model is that it ignores the technical progress that could affect the on the diminishing returns. Okay, then or minimize the diminishing return. The second point is the inaccurate determination of total wages. So this model also ignores the inaccurate determination of total wages. So according to the classical model of growth, assumes that total wages do not exceed or fall below the subsistence level. So they totally ignore this concept, and they also ignore the role of trade unions that can play a vital role regarding the level of wages. So these are the two limitations regarding the classical growth theory. Bache, you can ask question regarding these two limitation during your online session. So if you have any question regarding this limitation in your mind, so you are appreciated or you are encouraged to ask the question during the online session. So next is basic proposition of classical theory. The basic proposition of classical theory, basically there are 7 propositions regarding the classical growth theory. So one by one we are going to discuss these propositions. The first proposition is the production function. According to the classical classical growth theory economists, the total output of an economy depends on size of labor, the stock of capital, the amount of available natural resources and available technology. Thus, it expresses the functional relationship between dependent and independent variable that is shown in this equation, which is Q is the function of labor, capital, natural resources and technology. But here you should keep in your mind that T is basically here constant. Why? Because it cannot the T is constant. It cannot be increased quantitatively. Technology cannot be increased in this theory quantitatively, but its quality can be increased. So total output can be increased or improved by advanced technology. So total output is ultimately depends on labor, stock of capital and technology. So this is basically the first proposition under the classical growth theory. The second proposition is technological progress. According to this proposition, technological progress depends on investment. As you have seen, technology is the function of investment. The relationship between technological progress and investment is T is equal to the function of investment. That is, technology depends on the size of investment. That's why classical economists stressed upon capital accumulation and saving rather than technological progress. So basically the capital economist more focused on capital accumulation and saving rather than technological progress. Then the next preposition is investment depends upon profit. So investment depends upon profit. Technology depends upon investment, and investment depends upon profit. It is true that investment depends upon profit. The capitalist will make an investment only if it is profitable. We all know that we always it is always in our mind that whenever we are start any business, or we are planning to start any business, we should keep in our mind what if we are going to do. If we are going to suppose that we are going to invest in project A, so if we are going to invest in project A, what would be the profitability of under this project A? So everyone always keep in their mind that what would be the profitability of A or B or C investment. So the capitalist will make an investment only if it is profitable. Here investment means net addition to the existing stock of capital. Okay, or here K is equal to investment is equal to the capital, and capital is the function of profit, where K net addition to the capital, and R is equal to the returns on capital investment, or you can say profit. And then we move to the fourth proposition, which is profit depend on labor supply and technology. Okay, now here according to this proposition, the classical economist says that the profit is the function of labor supply and technological progress. In this proposition, the classical economist said that your profit basically is the function of technology and labor force. So the application of improved technology in agriculture, for example, if you are going, if the application of improved technology in agriculture can raise productivity and hence profit. So if there is increase in productivity, automatically there is increase in profit. Thus profit are not only influenced by the level of technology, but it also influenced by the labor force. So that's why we say that profit is the function of technology and labor force. The level, and then the level of technology depends upon level, as we have seen above prepositions, that the level of technology depends upon investment, and investment depends upon profit, and profit in turns depends upon level of technology. This argument explains the interdependence of these factors. When we are come to the last proposition, you come to realize that all of these variables under this sixth equation have the relationship of interdependence. Each variable is dependent on another variable, so they have the interdependence relationship. So this argument explains the interdependence of these factor, like T is the function of investment, and investment is the function of profit, and profit is the function of technology and labor force. So the heart of this circular argument is the technical progress is vital for economic development. So what is basically the heart of this circular argument? Like you have these 1, 2, 3 and 4, 5, 6, 7 equation. These are the circular argument. So the heart of this circular argument is the technical progress which leads to the economic development. The next proposition is the size of labor force depends upon the size of wage fund. This point explains the iron law of wages. So under this preposition we have the concept of or idea of the iron law of wages. So according to this proposition, if the wage fund is raised, the size of labor force will be large, or vice versa. So vice versa. People in the past basically did not realize or visualize the population growth could adversely affect the standard of living. So they did not realize that increase in population growth would affect their standard of living. So under these circumstances, the classical theory of population establishes the relationship between size of labor and wage fund. So that stated that labor force is the function of wage fund. So under this proposition, what they have stated that labor force is the function of wages. In the sixth proposition, according to them, the size of labor force depend upon investment. According to this proposition, the size of labor force depends upon investment. So according to this, the classical economist believes that wage fund depends upon saving of the capitalist, and these saving finds their way in investment automatically. So what they have established that according to them, wage fund जो है is basically depends upon saving of the capitalist. Wage fund depends on saving of the capitalist, and these savings finds the way in investment automatically. So the wage fund is the function of investment, or we can say that investment determines the size of wage fund. So these are basically the sixth proposition, and the seventh and last one is the closest equation. Basically this proposition include based on the all six equation that we have discussed, or six propositions. So under these we have all the function all the six equation under this proposition. So there are six equation having 7 variable, so their values cannot be determined. The system determined when number of unknowns equals the number of equation and operational function of the firm, where quantity or output is equal to the profit and wage fund. That is basically what it is. It is that is the output is sum of the profit and wage together. So basically output is sum of the profit and wage together. The 7th equation of classical theory are as under. You have to listen carefully, because if someone is not understand any proposition, they can understand under this closing equation, they might have understand the things that they did not understand during when I'm explaining the proposition 1, 2, 3, 4 and so forth. So in the second equation, classical theory are as under. Quantity is in the first equation, quantity is the function of labor, capital, natural resources and technology. In the second proposition we have technology is the function of investment, and in the third we have investment E is equal to the capital, and capital is the function of investment, and then profit is the function of technology and labor force, and labor force is the function of wage fund, and wage fund is the function of investment, and in the end quantity is equal to the profit and wage fund. So the circular system can be stated as the economic development implies the level of output, and this increase is possible due to the application of improved technology. Okay, so you have to understand the circular system means all the proposition, all these equation is known as the circular proposition, how the interdependence of one variable to another. So all the variables are interdependent to each other. So so this system is known as we can say that the circular system, and this circular system implies that the economic development and the level of output can be increased due to the application of improved technology. So which in turn the improved technology, and then which in turn depends upon the level of investment. So improved technology, according to them, economic development implies the level of output. So how we can implies the level of so the economic development basically implies the level of output, and this increase is possible due to the application of improved technology, which in turn in turns depend on the level of investment, and the investment is determined by the level of profit. The level of profit will be determined by the size of wage fund, which in turn influence the labor force or population growth. So population growth will be necessitate the discovery of new scientific discoveries for raising the total output. So the circular system can be stated as, I'm going to repeat again. So the circular system can be stated as, or state as, quantity leads to technology, technology leads to investment, investment leads to the profit, and profit leads to the wage fund, and wage fund leads to the labor force, and labor force leads to the quantity again. And so this is basically the circular system, how the, and you can simply see that how these variables are interdependent on each other. In the classical model of development, development activity is the stationary state. Listen carefully bache here. Basically this is the conclusion of the classical growth theory. In the classical model of development, activity is the stationary state. According to them, activity is the stationary state. The stationary state in the opinion of classical economists is essentially the concept of matured economy. Means when your economy is matured, that means you are on the stationary state, and thus it should not be interpreted as something characterized by underdevelopment. So you have to understand that stationary state means that when economy is matured, it is according to the classical growth theory. Paradoxically, the stagnation theory, the stationary state means that the stagnation theory, it is also the stagnation theory means when the economy is mature, they said that economy is on the stagnant mode, or thus on the stationary state. That's why paradoxically the stagnation theory of Ricardo, we know that the concept of classical growth theory is given by Adam Smith and then Ricardo. So the Ricardo basically, and then the idea of new classical the idea of new classical growth theory extended by the Adam Smith is extended by Ricardo. So Ricardo was formulated to meant numerous scientific discoveries and technological changes that multiply the output. But Ricardo has then he meant numerous scientific discoveries and technical changes that multiply the output. Clearly, Ricardo underestimated the impact of technological advances that offsetting the diminishing returns. So he completely ignores the idea that technological advancement might have effect on the diminishing returns of output and so on. So he like the discovery of the steam engine in 1769, the spin engine 1770, the arkwright water frame 1771, the bottling process of making wrought iron 1784, the power loom 1785, the cotton gin 1793, the interchangeable parts 1798, improved breed of livestock which is around 1800 I think so, and the steamboat around it is I think so it is 1807. All are developed before the all of these developments or discovery are developed before Ricardo wrote his theory. Since Ricardo's time, rapid technological progress contributed to unprecedented economic growth. So furthermore, the iron law of wages did not foresee the extent that which population growth could be limited. So these are the things that completely ignored by the Ricardo while developing the classical growth theory. So here we are done with our classical growth theory. Further we have I think around there are 13 growth theories. We are going to cover the most we are trying to cover at least 10 growth theories. So in the next lecture we are going to discuss the Marcus classic growth theory, and then Rostow growth theory, Lewis model. So these are the things that we are going to cover in the upcoming lecture. You will get the video lecture of each theory on your Google Classroom. So बच्चे, during the online section please do ask question regarding this growth theory. So one by one we can discuss these growth theories that we have covered through video lectures. So it up to you बच्चे. I am trying my best to clear your concept regarding each concept that we have discussed under development economics, but it also depends on you that how you are going to listen those lectures and going to ask the question. If you are not going to ask a question, how I am going to help you? So it is also your responsibility on your part that kindly listen the lecture carefully and then send your queries on your Google Classroom regarding each theory, and I'm going to answer those questions during the online session. And when someone asks the question, then the other person also related to that question, there are other students that are going to ask the questions. So please ask the question. I will try my best to answer each and every one questions. During the online session, we will have the online session on Monday. So I'm going to so all of you going to ask the question regarding this theory and the other three theories that I'm going those lecture I'm going to upload in the on Saturday or Sunday. Okay बच्चे, all the best and